Today we will examine one of the core tenets of Hermeticism, the principle of mentalism, which claims that all is thought and the cosmos is mental, is the first of the 7 Hermetic laws. This seemingly straightforward statement has a vast array of meanings. What does it really mean to say that the universe is ultimately a mental construct and that our experiences are merely reflections of our thoughts? Today, we will examine the true power of this principle and its confirmation in modern physics. When we affirm that the all is mind, we enter the mystery that the universe, everything that is, was, and will be, is a manifestation of the universal mind, which Hindus refer to as Vishnu's dream, of which each of us is an intrinsic part. Let's examine this in depth because, once we comprehend the first law, the doors to the mysteries of the spirit begin to open. First, it is important to understand what the term mentalism means according to the Kiban, the best-known book about herbal remedies. According to mentalism, reality is a mental construct, a product of the universal mind, and not physical or composed of solid, tangible matter as we might think. Everyone imagines that everything they see, touch, and feel is a part of a vast mental projection, a vision that many people associate with the idea of the Matrix. This universe, which seems so tangible to us, is actually a complex creation that arises from consciousness. We are sparks of the mind of the all, according to the ancient masters of Hermeticism. This means that when you think, create, and imagine, you are using the power of a mind that is ultimately part of the universal consciousness. However, this profound thought begs the question, if we are sparks of the all, why do we feel so distant from the universal mind? What prevents us from perceiving this connection in our daily lives? The answer is found in another Hermetic maxim. Our human mind is limited by experiences, conditioning, and individual perceptions are obscured by the illusion of separateness. This concept is shared by many philosophical and spiritual traditions. Buddha taught that everything we are is a direct outcome of our thoughts, and that our minds are everything. The scientist Max Planck, regarded as the pioneer of quantum physics, said, "I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as derivative from consciousness." This statement echoes the Hermetic idea, which science is now exploring for its depth and impact on reality. The principle of mentalism finds a fascinating reflection in the famous double-slit experiment, first conducted by physicist Thomas Young in the early century and revisited with greater depth as quantum science advanced. That the experiment is, at first, simple. A particle such as an electron is fired at a barrier with 2 slits on the other side of the barrier. There's a screen to record the impact pattern of the particles when scientists try to predict the behavior of this particle. Something extraordinary happens if no one observes the electron. It behaves like a wave passing through both slits simultaneously and creating an interference pattern like ripples in a pond. However, upon introducing a measure to observe which slit the particle goes through, the electron decides to behave like a particle. It chooses only one of the slits, eliminating the interference pattern, and creating a pattern that indicates a defined trajectory. This phenomenon reveals that at a quantum level, the act of observing modifies reality. The observer appears to alter the article's fundamental content by compelling it to select a particular state. This phenomena allows for broader interpretations of the connection between thought and reality and transcends materialistic knowledge. The great lesson of the first Hermetic law is revealed by the double-slit experiment, which demonstrates that consciousness focused on a point has the ability to determine the state of things. What Hermes Trismegistus pointed out millennia ago is that reality is subjectively susceptible to the conscious mind that observes, interacts, and creates. Picture the mind as a vast ocean where every thought and observation acts like a stone, tossed onto the water's surface, creating ripples and affecting everything around it. When you focus on something, you throw that stone and create the movement, turning potentiality into manifestation, like the electron that chooses to be a particle rather than a wave. In a world where our capacity to create reality depends on the strength of our attention, controlling where that attention is directed becomes a form of power. This is the mental power that the Hermetic principle speaks of. The first Hermetic law tells us that the mind is the key to creation. But what happens when the power of this mind, our deepest and most creative force, is dispersed and weakened? We live in an era where human attention has become the most sought after. Resource, our energy once focused on conscious creation, is being manipulated and consumed. Contemporary diversions. Our mental energy is silently stolen by social media's incessant notifications, advertisements, and never-ending flow of information. This mental fragmentation separates us from our creative essence and turns us into mindless reactors rather than creators of our own experiences. According to research, too much information and continuous stimulation permanently change our capacity for focus and memorization, making it harder for us to sustain. Focus gradually deteriorates. It's as though our mental toughness is a blade that is eroded by daily distractions, becoming less effective and sharp. The average person's attention span is now comparable to that of a betta fish. In Hermetic teachings, attention is seen as a tool for creation. Imagine it as the concentrated light of a magnifying glass. When your attention is focused, you can concentrate all the energy on a single point, intensifying and manifesting what you desire. But when that light is dispersed, we lose the power to transform and direct our path. We become passive observers, submerged in a torrent of superficial stimuli. In addition to fragmenting focus, modern distractions subtly shape our subconscious. Everything we see and hear, even if it seems irrelevant, leaves a mark on our minds in the silence of our unconscious. This information accumulates, forming beliefs, fears, and behavior patterns. And as we have seen, the subconscious is a powerful creator of reality. By absorbing information imposed upon us without filtering, we allow our beliefs and values to be programmed by external agents instead of nurturing ideas. Aligned with our true essence, we allow others' realities to impose on ours. Philosopher Aldous Huxley was correct when he said that the best way to manipulate people is to divert their attention. A dispersed individual with subconsciously formed beliefs lacks the ability to influence their own reality. Instead, the secret to taking back control of your reality is to regain control over your mind. And when it comes to doing so, meditation is the most effective tool available. Meditation becomes a crucial activity. According to the first Hermetic law, the mind is the matrix from which everything is formed. However, a disorganized mind that is always moving and influenced by outside factors loses its capacity for concentration. In Hermetic practice, the way to focus attention is to direct it like a lens that focuses light on a single point until it can ignite fire. Since the mind can only find the balance to become a true tool for conscious creation when it is in a condition of stillness and complete present, meditation is a return to zero point, the place where nothing and everything coexist. This state is the key to unlocking our creative potential. Meditation strengthens our attention span and serves as a mental workout. Man, imagine attention as a muscle that gets stronger the more you exercise it. Similarly, regular meditation improves the mind's ability to focus, stabilize, and resist external distractions, reclaiming its creative potential and releasing itself from the chains of external influences. By sitting in silence and concentrating on the breath or a point of internal observation, you are gradually breaking the cycle of distraction that permeates modern life. You are teaching the mind to remain in a state of presence of non-reactivity every time a thought arises and is consciously set aside every time a thought arises. When we meditate, we enter states of deep relaxation that connect us to the subconscious. In moments of stillness, old emotions and patterns emerge to be seen and finally transcended. This process is essential to aligning the conscious mind with the subconscious, making it an ally in creating the desired reality. Meditation is also one of the most effective ways to access the subconscious. This is because the subconscious largely determines what we manifest. So if we want to change our reality, we must go deep into the subconscious and dissolve the beliefs, fears, and traumas that impede our creative power. At the core of these teachings is the understanding that the universe we perceive, with all its complexities and nuances, is ultimately a projection of our minds. However, what happens when the majority of this creation originates from an unknown, barely explored region within us? When we purify our subconscious, we remove the blocks that unconsciously sabotage us, creating space for clarity and focus in our intentions and creations. The subconscious is the deep layer of the mind that functions through symbols rather than reason or direct logic. It is the vast ocean that contains ideas and beliefs that we frequently ignore, but that paradoxically profoundly alter our perception and, by extension, our reality. The experiences, perceptions, and beliefs that underpin our worldview are rooted in memories and emotions. The subconscious can be thought of as a video camera that records every moment, emotion, word, and image from the earliest stages of life. This continuous recording goes beyond what is aware, because it also has an emotional interpretation and captures worries, joys, and insecurities. Once ingrained in the subconscious, every experience and emotion starts to form imperceptible patterns that influence your outlook on life, your relationships, and even your chances of success and contentment. We must comprehend how the subconscious directly affects our experiences, if it is the great shaper of our world. Limiting beliefs are concepts that are ingrained in the subconscious and create boundaries around what we perceive to be feasible or achievable. For example, an individual who unconsciously feels unworthy of love may unintentionally turn away those who truly love them, ruining their relationships. These limiting beliefs function as covert programs that tie us to repetitive patterns. Cycles act as filters, warping our perspective of the universe and producing a kind of mirror that reflects not what we want, but rather what we genuinely think is feasible, blocking our conscious mind from completely manifesting the reality we wish. By comprehending how the subconscious shapes our reality, we can start the process of purposeful reprogramming. This practice necessitates patience and repetition because the subconscious is like fertile soil that needs to be plowed, nurtured, and cared for positive affirmations. This mirror reflects the subconscious's content without censorship, exposing hidden shadows and illusions. Affirmations and visualizations help plant new seeds like, "I am worthy of abundance and the universe is generous." Over time, this new programming starts to manifest in reality as the subconscious is trained to react to what it receives with repetition and emotion. Visualizations and meditation techniques help remove deeply ingrained beliefs and replace limiting patterns with a new vision of oneself. For instance, if you want abundance in your life, you must identify and dissolve beliefs like "I am not worthy" or "the world is scarce." The subconscious mind is powered by emotions, which heighten the perception of ideas and events that shape reality with powerful creative force. When you feel something deeply, this emotion becomes a message to the subconscious, which replicates this experience in your life. If you want to cultivate confidence, for example, visualize yourself in situations where you act with security and determination. Feel this confidence flowing through your body as if it were already true. The subconscious does not distinguish the real from the imagined, and thus it begins to accept this new emotional impression as part of its programming, reflecting it in your reality through reprogramming self-knowledge and the cultivation of elevated emotions. We can access the full potential of our subconscious mind, transforming it from a territory of shadows and limitations into a creative ally capable of guiding us to our highest purpose. The first Hermetic law reveals to us that we are co-creators of our reality. Our mind is a temple, and what we create within this temple inevitably reflects in the external world. When we allow our attention to be taken by distractions, we cease to be the masters of this temple and become its servants. But by cultivating attention, practicing meditation, and diving into our subconscious, we can reclaim the reins of creation. We can choose what we want to see, flourish in our inner garden, and consequently, in the garden of the universe around us. Thank you for watching.